Welcome. Um, the name of this session is Using the Tools of Writing to Clean House, Steps 4 through 9, and also known as Step 10. My name is Kate, and I am a recovering food addict and bulimic, and your leader for this meeting.
Hi,
The
Katie.
session format is one speaker for 45 minutes, then the floor will be open for 2-minute Q&A and shares. Before I introduce the speaker, here is some housekeeping information. Attendees are set to mute. We ask that you rename yourself to your first name and last initial. If you wish, you can add your contact information. This session is being recorded. Only the audio portion will be made available. Please stop your video if you are walking around, driving, or eating. You will still be able to hear the session. We may turn off your video for you. Please send a chat message when you are ready to have the video turned back on. If you want to change your view settings, click on the view button at the top of your right screen. You may choose either gallery or speaker view. Also, please note that the chat is set to host only. Questions and comments will only be seen by the host. And today, our speaker is Judy from California. So welcome, Judy.
Hi, thank you very much. I would like to make a request before I start that people who are on the phone talking to other people to get off the phone right now. And might sound pushy, but I kept myself not visible this entire day and loved hearing everybody. But I wouldn't have been so disrespectful as to let you see me putting rollers in my hair and all the other things I was doing in preparation. So I request the same. Janice, I'd like you to hang up, please. And anyone else, if you're going to be checking your emails, okay with me. Just turn off your video because I would really like to connect with whoever's face I can see. It's important for all of us, you know. We gather together in these rooms and we absorb the common energy. You know, the analogy I always like is about a bumblebee. You know, aeronautically, a bumblebee can't fly. It's this round thing, you know, can't get off the ground. But it mobilizes so much energy with those wings and it takes off. And I think that's us here in OA, that we mobilize some beautiful energy. And I want to try to connect with that because quite honestly, I am a little bit intimidated and scared to be speaking. I've been in OA 46 years and I've done a lot of speaking. And I listened all day today, except I miss my dear sweetheart Tenny because I'm in California and it would have been 6 a.m. for me. So I'll listen to the tape, but I just got so much from all the other speakers who seem to have said everything I had planned. So I'm just going to be winging it. So before anything, I would like to start out with a prayer. And I did not come to this program as a prayer. I came here as an eater. I weighed 222 pounds and I was mean and I was angry. And I saw no need for prayer. And eventually they taught me that prayer doesn't change God, it changes the prayer. That when I stand in that mode of supplication, of asking for help and guidance, I change. So this is the set aside prayer, and many of you have probably heard it. Lord, help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything that I think I know about myself, everything that I think I know about my fellows, everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I can have a much needed new experience of you, myself, and my fellows, and a new experience in my recovery. Help me see the truth. So that's what I'm here about. I hope that I get something out of what I have to say, and peripherally, you'll get something too. But I'm here to experience something new. And if I didn't keep my recovery green after 46 years, if I was still saying the same old thing, and telling you how I got here and how much I dieted and 9 times at Weight Watchers and blah, 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 I would be falling asleep. It's all good material. It's on other tapes. You can find it or email me and I'll tell you how to find it, you know, to hear all that kind of stuff. So I was a little mixed up about what I'm supposed to share about. And then I called one of my buddies, Beverly, and she said, well, who's going to keep you from talking about whatever you want anyway? So I hope that I meet the agenda of you organizers. And, but writing is a good part of what you're asking me to share about. I got some news yesterday, which I'm not going to tell you about yet. I'll probably be able to speak about it at some other meetings in the future, but I did ask for guidance about it and was told to use restraint of tongue and pen and get back to some writing about it first, because one of my mentors said, you have had a significant emotional experience. This news I got yesterday was a significant emotional experience. And it basically was about someone that I know really peripherally, a colleague, and she's very similar to me in many ways. The things they say about her, you could say about me. And she took her own life. And bam, I'm just like, wow, blown away. And a lot of it has to do with the kind of person I was before I got here. Risk-taking, thrill-seeking, in charge, leader, pretending I'm not afraid, jumping in, right? And when I initially saw that movie, Looking for Mr. Goodbar, I ran out and bought the book. Then I read the book, and it sent me to bed for a week. And it was basically about a woman who was a fine, upstanding social worker by day, and she ran the streets at night with all kinds of unsavory characters and wild and crazy guys and all the rest. And that was me. And I just, when I heard this thing about this lady yesterday, I said, man, but for the grace of God, you know, I just had this little weight problem, you know, I was just 80 pounds overweight. And I was certainly going to take care of that very soon, probably Monday or so. I had tried everything, and it dragged me into these rooms. And I'm so grateful today. So what we've been talking about all day is about awareness, about paying attention. And I just want to say that I've also studied many, many spiritual paths, one of them being Buddhism. I still don't believe in God. I go to the AA We Agnostic meetings. Fine for me. Doesn't matter. See how I just said doesn't matter? Because I've been on the phone all day with Texas ladies and Southern ladies, and then I'll start talking like them. I was such a chameleon in my early life. I was an army brat, and wherever we moved, within a week, I was talking like y'all. I was acting like y'all. I was doing whatever it took to get accepted. I had no identity. But I was successful at it. So that's the unfortunate thing. I was very successful at it, which only delayed my willingness to listen to what you guys had to say, because, hey, I'm in the world. I'm not hanging out just in those rooms, you know? Oh my God. So that kind of story is not that much different than everybody else's. You know, our drunkalogs, how we got here, is pretty similar. Defiant, angry. Even if you're sweet, you just may be angry. Anyway, I was the one who showed the anger, and I'm grateful for that. I was trained in violence. One of my earliest memories in my life was that sound. Flesh hitting flesh. And I didn't even know about that until I was 22 years old working as a waitress. And the cooks were pounding beef, tenderizing. And I heard that sound. And the memories came up of what I had experienced long before my age of reason and consciousness. So anyway, speaking of that, Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living, right? That we should take a look at what we're doing. And then I've heard people in the room say, and the unlived life is not worth examining. So I'm not here to examine my drunkalogs, but I'm here to try to talk about what recovery has looked like from my seat. I've put my email in the chat, so if anybody wants to get a hold of me, please do. Leave me your number. I'll call you back, just so that we're not in chaos fielding each other, and we're just take time and have balance to pay attention to one another. Gloria Steinem was one of my favorite ladies, and still is in many ways. And she always said that too, the unexamined life is not worth living, until she found the man. And then, of course, she was off and running. She said it's okay to live the cheap and superficial life for a while. But she came back too. Anyway, step 10 is about continuing what we already started in all the other steps, which is basically learning how to pay attention. And by the way, let me just tell you a little story. This Buddhist monk was at a party, and a New York literati lady came over to him and said, what is this Buddhism anyway? What does it mean? What is it about? He said, you want the long version or the short version? She said, well, it's a party. Give me the short version. So he said, well, the short version is pay attention. Huh? Well, she didn't think that was quite enough. She said, okay, give me the long version. He said, the long version is pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not that bad as an overeater. I don't have to look at my motivations, and I don't have to look at my behavior. Just give me the diet. I can do it. I've dieted before. And, I've thought that myself as I work with other people. Why am I taking people through all of this? Do we all really need to go there? Well, it's not such a bad thing, because it's great to live the examined life. It's great to know who you are and where you're coming from. And it's great to be able to immediately see your behavior and turn it around. I've watched words coming out of my mouth and been able to stop and suck them back in and not say that, because I know that step 9 is about making amends, and I don't want to have to do that again, right? So it's a lot of fun. This recovery is a lot of fun, and it's about self-discovery. So yeah, there is a solution. The good news is there is a solution. The bad news is we're it. So we have to listen to each other. We have to pay attention. So those of you who are still talking to other people while you're on the line, just take your video away, okay? So we don't have to see you being elsewhere. Let's all try to be here now with each other. All right. Anyway, that's enough of my blah, 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 blah. A lot in step 10 is about examining our motives. And I was always pretty slick at hiding my motives, mostly to myself. Putting a good intention around it, pretending that's what I was after. But especially with my current sponsor, she talks a lot about my low self-esteem. And I say, what? Low self-esteem? Moi? I'm a published author. I've been on national television, had my own radio show. I'm a speaker here, there, and everywhere. Blah, blah. How can I have low self-esteem? Look at all I've accomplished. But But when we look at my behaviors and the times when my motives were hidden, it usually turns out that I am trying to look good or better than other people. I'm competitive and I want to get over. It's still part of that streetwise stuff I came in here with, of getting away with something so that I can feel powerful. And I'm not trying to say that I'm not a good person. I am a good person, but I still have these last vestiges of thinking I should be other than or different than I am. Most of the time, I'm pretty content with who I've become, and I'm pretty much happy that I'm a nice person. That didn't happen until very, very late in the program. You know, I would say my first 20 years were spent rigidly holding on to that food plan so that I could keep maintaining that 80-pound weight loss. So I'd be a pretty little dancing doll. And so I'd have credibility at OA because I saw that when people regained their weight, other people stopped listening or turned away. That happened from time to time. And there have been seminars in OA meetings where people talk about that. And they call it the 12th step within. This is not a competition here. This is not like Weight Watchers where we throw open our trench coat and say, look at my body, look at me, look at I. No. This is about tremendous gratitude that just for today, I feel some safety and protection from my demons. Eleanor Roosevelt said, great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. So my early life was spent discussing people. And my mom and I would sit at that Formica table and we'd be eating these rolls that we slathered with butter. And while we were eating them and the little poppy seeds were rolling down our cheeks and the butter was dripping down our arms, we'd be taking everybody's inventory. We were so smart and we knew exactly what was wrong with them and how they should fix that. And we kept stuffing our humanity, our compassion for ourselves and others. We kept stuffing that down with this dough, baked dough. And it wasn't until and to tell you the truth, I became very successful at it. Like I said, I was successful with all of my defects. I became a therapist and I used this skill of noticing other people and how to point out what they were doing and to help them. And they loved it. Oh, thank you. You helped me so much. Yeah? Don't know. Anyway, it was a good attribute. But the things that have saved my life, my personal life, have been the things I've learned in these rooms of how to be a gentler, kinder person, and how to stay with an empty cup, with the cup empty. I'm here to be filled. I'm here to learn things. I'm here to grow. And I hope I'll remember to tell you this story at the end of my talk. Trying to look at how much time I have. Wow, time is fleeting. Very good. Very good. So I was so desperate when I got here that I did whatever my sponsor told me to do. I really, really did. And they told us in the rooms in those days, when your sponsor says jump, you ask how high on the way up. And that was it. And I had to get rigorously honest about what I was eating, writing it down, calling her up, telling her what I'm eating. Visibility, truth, honesty. I'd rather tell her anything but what I'm eating. I don't want to tell you what I'm eating. I had one time about my, I guess it was like my second or third year in recovery. I took a trip to Bali for a month. And I took postcards. We didn't have internet then. We didn't do texting. I took postcards for 30 days. And every day I wrote that woman what I ate and put a stamp on it and mailed it back to the United States of America. Because that's how committed I was in many, many ways, weighing, measuring, the whole deal. And, I've heard other speakers this morning. I'm so grateful for Beverly and other people who are saying that their relationship with food has changed. I've been brought to a position of neutrality. I'm neither repulsed from it nor drawn toward it. It's just a part of my life. I'm conscious, I'm aware, I pay attention, but I'm not fanatic and I'm not afraid. And I did many, many retreats over many years in OA. And I remember at about year 20, I started saying at these retreats from the podium, I would say, along with my sponsor who agrees with this course, I may start thinking about taking back a few of these things that I have been so rigidly about. And people got mad at me. Their fear welled up and they started yelling, "Are you trying to tell alcoholics that they can drink?" I said, no, I'm just saying that, if I'm in a restaurant and turns out there was sugar in the salad dressing, I don't need to run all the way to West Hill for the next 6 months because I'm having some withdrawals. That I might be able to get back on track, create balance. Like when you're driving a car, when you first learn to drive, you go, right? And then you say, oh, you can just move it a little and come on back. Come on, center of the balanced road. You don't have to keep doing it that way. So anyway, I told the people in those retreats who were angry with me, I said, look, think of me as like an Indian scout, okay? I'm going to go out on the prairie and see if there's Indians out there. All right? I'm brave enough. Now, if I come back and there's arrows in my chest, then you may decide, if I come back fat, you may decide that I was not following the best path. Well, that hasn't happened. In fact, I continued to get to an even more moderate body size. Today I wear a size 8 bathing suit. Most of my muscles are very functional. I have all the aches and pains of a woman my age, and I know how to deal with them. So that's enough on that score. So I also appreciated all the enthusiasm of all the speakers. I think that I'm not as fired up as I might usually be when I speak. And part of it is because I need to keep doing some more writing about this whole idea of self-destruction. Freud said we all have an ambivalent commitment to both life and death. And George Bernard Shaw said we can choose to live either as a blowtorch or a candle. So back to balance and moderation, I have very often in my life been a blowtorch and entertained the troops and all kinds of stuff. But my true self is a quieter, gentler person. And when I drank, I have 41 years in AA, but when I drank, I did not drink to be part of the group, to be social. I drank to get out. I wanted blackouts because I did not know how to sit quietly around other people. I always had to jump in and perform in some way. And I don't have to do that today. And I certainly don't have to do it at OA. I hope I say something of value, but you'll get what you get. You never know when you speak what's going to influence people because I don't know all of you yet. I remember once, and there's a discussion about in the early days of OA, there were the groups with this one man, there were two men who created a lot of tension between all of us ladies in OA. There were mostly ladies in those days. And one guy said, just work the steps and your food will get in order. And they called his groups the Fat Serenity groups because as much as people wanted that to be true, it wasn't quite true. They also had to put some energy toward looking at how they were eating. So that created another guy who said, let's do this strict, rigid program no matter what. And it was back and forth about their food, back and forth and back and forth. And both of those guys have passed on, but the vestiges of that kind of fighting are still with us. And, you know, and like this lovely newcomer lady was talking about, and I'm trying to write some things about the difficulty of adapting to a new program. And as was mentioned about Roseanne and our early founders, they were, and all of our speakers were AA speakers. At every retreat, they were run by Bobby Earl or some other big shot AA person. We didn't even have any recovery behind us. And when we reached 21 years of age in OA, I was the speaker that night at the birthday party. And by the way, I hope you guys will come when we have birthday party again. It's such a great experience, really. Middle of January, Los Angeles. Anyway, I said at that time, I said, you know, our job as children is to learn from our parents and learn what they have to teach us, which is AA. Learn what AA has to teach us, and then we take our own experience and adapt some of that from our own experience and develop our own lives. Our job is to create our lives here. And people got mad at me for that one too. So anyway, I'm not trying to, you know, be a downer here. I'm just saying that flexitarian. My food is flexitarian, and my life is flexitarian. I wear it like a loose garment. I'm not here to convert or convince anybody. I'm having a great life, a super, super great life. But it still haunts me, this idea of being self-destructive, because I've gotten in my way so many times, and you people have pulled me out. You people have gotten me back on track. You know, I talked about listening to my sponsor. I'll tell you one early thing was, like I said, I was a big shot therapist. I was helping people found alcoholism programs all over Southern California. I was studying with Joe Persh, one of the big names in alcoholism treatment. And we were treating Betty Ford, the first lady, and senators, and I was in it, right? In the middle of all that, I got into my own recovery in OA finally and lost a lot of weight. And my sponsor said, you're cruising for a bruising. You are on a dry drunk. You are so into your work and running, racing. You have to give up something. I said, I can't give up my work. It's wonderful. And my alcoholic husband and I had divorced by that time. And I said, you know, I do 20 hours a week at the Navy hospital, and it's very good for me. It's good for my ego. I have 300 sailors flirting with me all the time. It's terrific. And, you know, I feel I'm giving lectures on assertiveness training. And blah, 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 blah. She said, I don't know. I don't care. I just know you got to give up something. So I gave up the Navy hospital. I went in and I told Joe Persh, for my recovery, I cannot work 20 hours a week with you guys. Oh, because I was training probation officers and doing psychodrama with Crips and Bloods who were in juvenile hall. And I was just as angry as the kids, and I could really show them how to confront. I'd been trained in Phoenix House in confrontation therapy. Oh my God. And it was who I was. Anyway, I gave up that job. And a week later, I was walking down the hospital of one of my other jobs, and the administrator said, you know, Judy, you've been losing a lot of weight, haven't you? I said, yeah, what we're doing for the alcoholics on the 4th floor, we could do for overeaters. Bam. It launched the creation of the nation's first eating disorder unit. That was not my plan. That was not a motive. That was not intention. It was like, empty the cup. Empty the cup. There's something in store. I didn't know it at the time. There were so many things like that where my best ideas were not it. When I gave the lecture to the doctors about that, setting up that unit, I couldn't remember my notes right before. I was scared to death. And I called my sponsor. She said, well, why don't you find a little cubicle and get down on your knees and pray? Let God use you as a channel. I said, what? Are you kidding me? I said, that crap is fine for those meetings, but this is medicine. And what you say, what sponsors always say, well, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. So I prayed. Let me be an instrument of thy peace, a channel of thy will. 11th step prayer. I hated my lecture. I thought I should have been sassier. I thought it should have been funnier. I should have convinced them. Guess what? They were doctors. They wanted only the facts, ma'am, only the facts. They loved what I said, and they went for it. Now, see, my idea was you got to sell, you got to push, you got to put that energy. Instead, it was a program of surrender, of letting yourself be a vessel. So things like that happened for over and over and over and over. When I knew I had to do something about my alcoholic marriage and my husband was beating me and I didn't know how to move it. And a lady said to me, there will always be something. It was like chapel bells went off, bong, bong, bong. When your body is clean of your substances, the body doesn't lie. The head lies, but the body goes zzz, zzz, and the exact action is right there. And there's calm, not the chaos, not the self-doubt. I said, Howard, one of us is leaving today. If it's not you, it's me. He said, okay, I'll go. With all the love in the world, not having to mobilize strength, confidence, anger, resolve. No, quiet, gentle. So I'm going to skip ahead and not tell all that much more about my story, but about 2 years ago, right before the pandemic hit, actually in
Judy, you're at 30 minutes. You have about 10 or 15 more
Thank
minutes.
you very much. That'll be fine. Okay, great. We had a car accident, and peripherally, the doctors found that my husband had a brain tumor. And 2 weeks later, the pandemic went on. We live in Palm Springs, California. For a bunch of reasons, couldn't get the MRI in Palm Springs. Pandemic, back and forth to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in LA, yada, yada, yada. It took a full year to find out that his tumor was benign and it wasn't growing, okay? But as soon as that thing came down, I said, Jude, you better get ready for the biggest test of your life and of your recovery. And it just threw me into recovery in a whole new way. I had, over 4 decades of great success in the program and happiness. But I knew that I needed you guys very much. And I've been a Zoom fiend. I go everywhere. I do everything. I have 3 programs, Al-Anon, AA, and OA. So I'm a busy little bee. I've not gotten my writing done, which I regret, but I will. And about 2 years before that thing came down, I was walking into an AA party, and I said to this lady who is like a big guru in AA, and she said, "How you doing, Jude?" I said, "Well," I proceeded to tell her that I was disturbed about something and I had things going on, kind of just in a general way. And she said, looks like somebody needs to write a gratitude list. Oh God, I got so angry with her. Like, you know, why'd you ask me if you don't want to hear what's really going on, you know? But it kept eating on me. That the two things that I hated most when I came to these rooms was the two G words, God and gratitude. God and gratitude. So I had collected all kinds of artifacts and things that were important to me and pictures of people I love. So in my backyard, I created a gratitude shrine, like that same gratitude shrines I'd seen in Bali from those many, many years before. And one of the things on my shrine is a present from Beverly, and I push it and it jings my little chimes every morning. And I go out there every morning and I go through all of these things about friendship, about sense of humor, about tenacity, about discipline, about career, about about my Henry, my wonderful Henry, about all the things I'm so grateful for. And it changes. Like I said, prayer does not change God. It changes the prayer. It changes how I walk this planet. And so, you know, when Henry and I've been together, I guess like 27 years, all his kids were grown. He has 5 kids. And these weddings started happening. And Henry said, you know, we got to, and I know all the kids and everything. He said, you know, we got to face facts. You got to come to this wedding and the hell, he didn't say the hell with, but he said, the ex-wife's going to have to deal with it, you know, that you're, and about motives again, and about thinking through things and paying attention. I said, Henry, I don't want to go to the weddings. I said, I don't need to be out there as a dancing doll with my weight loss and feeling so cute. And this woman who dedicated her life to raising these 5 kids, and she's overweight, I just don't need to create discomfort in that way. It won't feel good. So all the kids, no, except for one, but 4 of the kids have gotten married. I've not been to any of the weddings. It's wonderful. I get to see them afterwards. We have great times. But, you know, for me to make that decision, not because my sponsor told me to, and not because I want to look good, but just because in my heart of hearts, it feels good to be a decent human being and to be considerate. That is major. You know, Beverly knows that is major to have come this far. You know, I am not the person I was at 222 pounds. That person can't live in this body, and this person can't live in that body. It's a different deal. So, okay, Beverly's on. I told her if she wants to know, I told her I want to tell this story that she taught me a few weeks ago when I went to celebrate her 90th birthday to Phoenix. So I'm going to tell that story. And I told her, if you want to see that I give you credit, you've got to come on my talk. Good girl, you did it. So anyway, I've been told that this story was told a lot in the AA circles years ago, but I had never heard it. But it's a story about bamboo. Bamboo was the prize of the garden, the master's favorite plant. And bamboo spent every day just dancing in the breeze and listening to the rustle of his leaves and standing tall and proud. And one day the master said, Bamboo, I must use thee. Bamboo said, yes, master, use me all up. He said, Bamboo, I must pluck your leaves. Bamboo said, no, not my leaves, master. My leaves create my music. My leaves tinkle in the breeze. Bamboo, I must use thee. Okay, master. Bamboo, I must cut your branches. Master, my branches provide my balance, and they also help the rest of the garden with the shade that I produce. Bamboo, I must use thee. Okay, master, take my branches. Bamboo, I must also cut thee in half and scrape out your heart. Master, my heart is what you've given me. You've nurtured my heart. You have helped it grow. You've helped me be of value to others. Bamboo, I must use thee. Master, take my heart. So it came to pass that the master pulled off the leaves, cut off the branches, split Bamboo in half, and scraped out his heart. And then the master took Bamboo, laid him down gently, with one end of him in a lovely cool spring, and the other end laid down to provide water to the fields of rice below. And the water started flowing through Bamboo, and the master had used him. And within a short time, there was a crop that fed everyone in the village. So that's how I want to be used up. You know, George Bernard Shaw. Oh, I had something on I'll read here. Okay. George Bernard Shaw. The true joy of life is to lose yourself to a cause determined by yourself to be a mighty one, to be used up before put on the scrap heap of life. Well, I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. I want to be that splendid torch, and I want to help it burn brightly. And one of my mentors reminded me that bamboo, to be useful, had to be laid down. And that's what we're about here in OA. We want to have our food in order so that our body can signal, what's my next surrender? Where's the area that I want to be laid down and of most use? So I am a happy bamboo today. I am also reminded that I am not the water, I'm the pipe. And I'm grateful to you guys for nurturing me and helping me on this journey. You keep me balanced and you keep me in the center of the road. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. We will now open the floor to 2-minute question and answer and shares for the speaker. Please focus your questions and shares on the topic of this meeting. For those who arrived late, the topic of this session was using the tool of writing to clean house, steps 4 through 9, also known as step 10. Place your questions in the chat and the Zoom host will read them to the speaker. Please focus your shares on answering the question, what is your main takeaway? How will you apply this to your program? To share, please raise your virtual hand by selecting raise hand at the bottom of the reaction menu at the bottom of your screen or at the bottom of your participant list. If you are joining by phone only, please use *9 to raise and lower your hand. The leader will call on you to share. Please select unmute to speak. The timer will signal when time's up. The meeting is now open for Q&A and sharing.
Okay, so let's start with Marin. You should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, my name is Marin, and I am a compulsive eater. Thank you so much for sharing. That was so beautiful. You did such a great job, Judy. I just wanted to know kind of your last story, the bamboo story, just kind of a reflective question maybe, but for you, what has been a way that you feel like you've become a vessel in a way that you couldn't have if you had continued to let food fill you, I guess?
Wow, thank you. That's a really great question. I came here lard laden and sugar coated and constantly filled with guilt and remorse about my behaviors, totally self-obsessed with vanity. I want to look better. I wasn't into health at that time. I just want to look better and I want to get away with everything. And I was so busy getting away with what I thought I wanted that I had no idea that these things were in store for me. I didn't know I was a writer. I didn't know just so many things about myself and my talents, mainly because I was obsessed with myself and my weight. And I think that might be, like they talk about normies and, the normally neurotic American who's on a diet all the time. That's different than us. It really is in many ways, because mine was an obsession. I could not enjoy anything and I could not feel satisfied. One of the necklaces I wear, Beverly helped me buy it in New York City in the wholesale jewelry district, and it says Dayenu. And that means it's enough. I'm enough, life is enough, and I've done enough. And that sense of satisfaction and satiety, being satisfied, ceasing from striving, no longer scoffing. I used to scoff at everything I heard in these meetings. I did that in graduate school. Oh God, this is elementary psychology. All that. Instead, I said, how can I do this differently? How can I learn, like the set aside prayer? So basically, I come to life as an empty cup, seeking to be filled. And that might sound selfish, but I'm sorry, it's a selfish program. The weight loss has been a byproduct, and the benefit to others has been a byproduct. I have never been motivated to be the guru I became from time to time. And I really related to Terrell and the speakers on anonymity and how sometimes that was put on me, but it was not what I was after. And I hope that answers your question, Marin. Email me and we can talk some more.
Thank you.
Time on that. Thank you.
And Judy, we have a question from Seneca. It says, after so many successes in your life, what keeps you coming back?
Well, I like this way of life. I like learning. When I listen to you guys, it constantly refurbishes some things I've already learned and some new things. Why wouldn't a person want this? I don't have troubles with food anymore. That doesn't drive me here. I'm driven by you. What draws me back is you. Thanks for the question. But like I said, there is a solution. That's the good news. The bad news is we're it. So I come here for you and your solution. Sheila? I'll just call on you. I see your hand up. Thanks.
I'm Sheila. I'm a compulsive overeater. I don't think this is a question, unless it's a question to myself. Some of the, about the most valuable thing I've ever done as far as reaching a point of being able to feel grief and let some of that go and surrender some of it is writing. And it's not something I've ever really wanted to do or done a whole lot. So I guess the question would be is why is it so difficult for me to do? I think it probably has to do with fear of what comes out. And when I start that process, I never know what's going to come out. But I've been in and out of program for a long time. And I know in my heart that if I would do more writing, I would probably make better progress, because I think it's one of the ways that I can connect to God that I may not do any other way. But I just wanted to throw that out there, because even knowing how good it is for me, it's still hard for me to do. And I can only imagine how wonderful I would be today if I could write a book. But I think it's God's way of me getting to the truth, and it just scares me sometimes.
Well, you know, yes, fear is a great motivator for many of us, and also a great resistor. And you're absolutely right. You know, there is a magic that happens when pen touches paper. It channels from that other place that we've been talking about. And I can't predict it. I don't know what I'm going to learn. I just ask for the willingness to let it happen. Early on, it was suggested to me, actually my therapist at the time, that I start writing by first these lines: give it the barest. Give it the barest. Give it the barest ounce of truth that maybe this is true, and then write whatever comes out. And I remember at that time it was about, I was complaining that I just kept picking alcoholic men and of course he said, well, we choose who we are, and you're only choosing what you're ready for. The man I'm with today, I never would have looked at him 40 years ago. Come on, he's so straight and nice and fun, and I respect him and look up to him. I don't want that. I want a lesser companion I feel I can control. But anyway, he said, so my therapist said, you know, if you wanted a guy, they'd be all over you. You could get a guy. There's a reason, and it must be you. You don't want to find a guy. What? Are you kidding? Look at, I'm going to all these dances. I'm doing everything. He said, right. Give it the barest ounce of truth that you probably don't want a guy. And I started writing, and it all came out. Remember I told you, that is my earliest visceral, cellular level body memory of what it means to be in a relationship.
Time to move on.
Lot to overcome. So, yeah, fear to learn. But you know what? I've only learned what I've already lived through. I've only learned what I already know in my gut. Let's get it on paper, and then someone else can help us with the black and white and figure it out.
So Judy, we have another question from Audrey S. How often do you use the tool of writing?
I'd love to say every day, but that's not the case. It's very hard for me to separate this out, because I also am an author, and I also have writing projects I'm working on. I'm also a storyteller, so I'm working on writing up my stories for presentation. So I do a lot of different kinds of writing, and some of them include deep psychological awareness, and things will pop in that I didn't even know I needed to write about. I wear my recovery like a loose garment. I don't have a set, this is what I do here and this is what I do there. So there's your vague answer for you. How often do I use the tool of writing? Can't tell you.
Okay. I think we have time for one more share. Do we have anyone that would like to share? Oh, I see Adrian.
I'll jump on in there. Hi, I'm Adrienne. I'm a recovering compulsive overeater. Thank you, Judy. For me, writing is real important. When I go to do my prayer and meditation, if I'm all cluttered in here, I'm not going to be able to connect. So I do the set aside prayer to get clear and let God in. And then I write down, I do a step one. What is making my life unmanageable? What are the thoughts in my head that are causing me to be restless, irritable, and discontent? And then I do a step two. I turn these over. I get a bigger God that can handle everything that I put in step one. And then I open my hands in step three. And I surrender it and I turn it over and I write all this stuff. And then I act as if I get to choose how I'm going to show up and not be step one. I can be step three and be in alignment with God and the goodness that I know that God wants me to be. And I can only do that through writing. And when I get all that junk out, that's when I can plug in with God. So writing for me is an extremely powerful tool. And I don't do it perfectly. I don't do it consistently. I just know that when during convention and planning this stuff, I put it down on paper. Man, did I turn this stuff over again and again. And it worked. I was filled with profound peace. Thanks.
Thank you, Adrienne. Okay. Well, it looks like, Kate, I'll hand it over to you. It looks like we're getting ready to close.
Okay. We would like to thank Judy and everyone who attended this session. We will now move into a short closing to celebrate this awesome convention and the great messages of recovery.
Wonderful. And I guess that's me again. So it is going to be short and sweet, you all, because I know our cup is overflowing. I know mine is full. And I want to say thank you. Thank you to all the speakers for your time, your messages of hope, your strength, and your encouragement, for offering solutions for a new way of thinking, a way of thinking and responding to life. That is the biggest gift I've gotten from this program, how to respond differently to life without turning to the food. I want to thank the many volunteers it took to pull this off, to make this happen. Without you, it wouldn't be. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you for your service. You're wonderful. Thank you to my loving, supportive, and hardworking committee chairs. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to my loving, supportive, wise, patient, no nonsense sponsors who encouraged me, who called me on and I'm cleaning it up, on my stuff, and kept reminding me to get a bigger God. And thank you to all my loving, supportive OA friends who heard many numerous 10 steps and loved me just the way I showed up. So what's next? There's a short survey that you're going to be receiving today, and we welcome your feedback. We would want it so that we know how we can do it better next year. This has been our first time doing it virtually, and it's been exciting because we've gotten people from all over the country, and we can learn from it. So your feedback is important. Thank you. Also, there are several of you who said you will sponsor, and several of you who are looking for a sponsor. So that list will be going out. Also, several of you have said that you'll want to be on the attendee list for this wonderful convention. That too will be coming out. Also, audio recordings for each session will be out on the OA Dallas website in the near future. You'll be given a heads up when that's going to happen. It's going to take some time to pull them off and put this together, but we will keep you posted as that happens. So thank you for spending your day with us.
Adrian,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. May God bless you, and may you have many peace and blessings as you go forth today. Thank you.
Adrian, can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to lead us in a cheer for Adrian. You know that old hip hooray? Let's give 3 cheers for Adrian. She's been an amazing conference as volunteers. Ready?
Yay.
Hip hooray!
Hooray!
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip
Hooray!
hooray!
Woohoo!
Okay, keep coming back. It works if you
If
work
you
it
work
and
it,
you work
it
it cause
works.
you're worth
Worth
it.
it.
Yeehaw!
Absolutely.
Love it.
Great job, Dallas.
Big hugs for everybody.
Awesome.
Glad it's over.
You made
Oh,
it.
no. It was wonderful. Thank you for everybody who attended. May you've gotten a great message from it.